Hey YouTube, Balisong Addict here, and today I'm going to be doing a Balisong review on my Cold Steel Archangel. So here's the box, and here's the little green package that comes in with the seal. Those things are pretty necessary if you're going to be selling this and you want more money, because a lot of collectors want that stuff. Right off the bat, I'm just going to show you its size next to the 42. As you can see, the handles are a little bit longer than the 42. And here's a Kimura. Kimura and 42 are pretty common Balisongs. It's a lot longer than the Kimura. As you can see, Kimura's smallest, this is next, and then this is the longest one. Alright, so I'll show you the length next to the 42. When they're open, as you can see, it's longer than the 42 like that. And here's the Kimura right there. So you can see it's the longest Balisong out of the three. It's pretty long. The blade length on it is 4.5 inches. The blade thickness right here is 1/8 inch thick. Here, let me get these Balisongs out of here. The tank pin right here, it's a single tank pin because it's channel handles. That means that they're solid right there. It's a single tank pin. The tank pin thickness is 0.15 inches in diameter. Alright. The handle length is 5.42 inches long. And that's all the specs that I'm thinking of right now. Anyways, on to the review now that we're done with the specs and the reference knives. You can see that my Cold Steel Archangel is not a normal Archangel. Alright, see, it's got gold handles, black blade. That's because I made some little modifications to it. First off, the pocket clip. Right now, it's on the bite handle for me, but usually it starts off on the safe handle. Alright, so basically how you do that is you just take it apart, you switch the handles, and then you switch the latch over to the bite handle. Alright, that's all you really got to do if you want the pocket clip to be on the bite handle. I mean, if you're flipping and you do a lot of like fanning with the safe handle, you can't really fan super well with the pocket clip. Like when I do fanning with the bite handle, it's not the easiest thing to do. So it's one little down thing. The reason I don't take it off is because under this pocket clip, right there where those 3 screws are, is some unfinished steel, so it just looks really bad. And yeah, and these screws, they don't come Loctited, none of them do, so you should probably Loctite them if you get this Balisong. The blade steel is carbon V steel, which it holds an edge, and it can stay sharp. Like what I understand is that it's a hunting knife, like steel, is what they use carbon V for a lot, and it's really high in carbon, and that means that it's gonna rust on you pretty fast. That's why I put this black coating on it. I don't really like knives that rust because I'm a flipper, and a lot of flippers are kind of lazy about maintaining their knives. I mean, I'm not saying they all are, but I don't want to be oiling my blade every time I flip it. So I put on this black Duracoat. Maybe you could put clear Duracoat on it. Another thing about the blade is the blade does not come super sharp. Cold Steel didn't make this knife too terribly sharp. And if you guys are thinking, what is this Balisong? It's a discontinued Balisong made by Cold Steel. So it's discontinued. You have to get it on the secondary market. They go for around like $300 to $350, depending on what kind of condition they're in, and like if they have the box and stuff. Alright, what about okay, the handles, they have these cutouts in it, and these cutouts are really sharp. By sharp, I mean that it's like a right angle. It's a right angle right there. It's not really rounded off at all. So when you're flipping it, it might be a little bit rough on your hands. I mean, I have calluses on my hands from like lifting and stuff. When people complain about it being rough on their hands, I mean, I don't care. Like, it doesn't bother me at all. I have calluses on my hands. It doesn't matter. It's the same weight as a Benchmade 42, but as I told you, it was longer than a Benchmade 42. So it kind of gives it a little bit of a lighter feel than the 42. So it won't feel quite as, it doesn't feel quite as solid as it does, as the 42 does. The blade play isn't too bad. It's about the same as the Benchmade 42. And the pivots take a T9 screw to adjust, and these screws, the latch screw and the pocket clip screw, they take a T7. Alright, so that's about, oh, one more thing. It's a T-latch. Alright, so it's going to make a little bit more noise than a spring latch a spring latch like this that doesn't flop around. It's going to make a little bit more noise than that, and I mean, that's okay. It doesn't bother me too much. So it's a really nice knife. I'll talk about the flipping a little bit. This knife was pretty much my first good flipper. My first knife was my Kimura, and the Kimura is okay at flipping. But for this knife, it was my first one that I flipped pretty hard with and learned a lot of advanced tricks with. And it's a good flipper, okay? It's right up there with the Benchmade 42. When you're deciding on a Benchmade 42 versus this knife, it's really, really close. Alright, I mean, I'm going to make a separate video about that, but I'll tell you my opinions on that from there. For flipping this knife, the only things I really had problems with was when I would be fanning with by handle. It's a little bit hard because it's got the pocket clip on there. I really like this knife for twirling. Okay, I can twirl it pretty fast, and it's good at scissoring too. I mean, I learned to scissor with this knife. I like that too. Some things that were a little bit hard for me with this knife, for whatever reason, I couldn't get vertical chaplains down, and vertical chaplains are just easier with the Benchmade 42 for whatever reason. But this knife's a really good flipper. On a scale of 1 to 10 for flipping, because there's going to be knives coming out that are really good knives. On a scale of 1 to 10, I'm going to give it an 8.9. Alright, that's almost a 9. I can't give it quite a 9. But yeah, I'm pretty harsh. I guess some people would give it a way higher one, but I don't think there's a knife out there that's a 10 quite yet. I mean, the titanium basilisk, I haven't flipped it, but I'm assuming that's one of the best flippers. One more thing about this knife is it doesn't look that great. Well, on camera, when it's silver, the silver looks a lot better than this gold and black. Because they're just not that shiny. So if I had to do it over, I probably wouldn't anodize these handles, and I'd probably put a clear Duracoat finish on the blade, or I would put a different blade on it. That's another option. Maybe get it rebladed in a stainless steel. I mean, if you don't care about the carbon V and you just want to take care of it all the time, or if you want it to rust. I mean, carbon V will rust fast on you. But anyways, it's a nice knife. I don't carry it because it's a super expensive Balisong. So the pocket clip, I don't know how much you need that, because if you're going to be carrying a super expensive Balisong, I don't know about that. Like, I flip it a lot. It's got a lot of flipping marks on it and stuff, like just right here. That Duracoat is worn off from hitting the inside of the handle, because it doesn't have this top tang pin, because it's a channel Balisong. That means that it's solid, and it's just milled out in there. Alright. One thing besides the vertical chaplains when I was flipping with it that I didn't like is when you're doing aerials, you catch it and you see this is as close as the handles get. That's how close they get without squeezing it. They're kind of a little bit far apart. For catching aerials, it's easier if your handles are closer together. You can see that the Benchmade 42 handles are much closer together than the Archangel's handles. Okay, so that's just a little bit thing to think about. I mean, it's not really a big deal at all. I can still catch aerials fine. It's just a little bit easier to catch the aerials if they're closer together. One thing I really like about this knife is you squeeze it. I have to put a lot of pressure on it. I have to squeeze it quite a bit to get the latch, and then the latch doesn't come out at all. Okay, you have to squeeze it to get the latch out. Okay, I really like that. I like having a really tight latch. Cold Steel Archangel's very nice tight latch. Alright, so once again guys, just if you're looking at this as a flipper, it's a pretty awesome flipper. 8.9 out of 10 in my opinion. And it's a nice knife, not super sharp, but that's fine. You can go ahead and sharpen it. Alright, there's the review of the Cold Steel Archangel. Hope you guys liked it, and stay tuned for a comparison to the Benchmade 42.